Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope. Thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And I want to remind all of our listeners and viewers, because we are coming up on the Super Bowl here in the USA, you can now order at FijiWater.com to receive one case of Fiji water. Buy one, get one 50% off using the code GAMEDAY. You don't want to miss this, and you want to hurry to get this done at FijiWater.com, because we will be having the Super Bowl on Sunday, and we don't want you to miss this. So go to FijiWater.com, place your order, buy one, get one case for 50% off using the code GAMEDAY. And they're going fast because the Super Bowl is coming fast. And I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you who have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at newlifeministriesinternational.com and newlifeinternationalcdc.com. And for those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for your continued support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you, to address whatever topics are of importance to you and whatever issues you find challenging or difficult to navigate. We are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So encourage your family, friends, coworkers, and colleagues to continue to encourage them to tune in on Facebook, on our Facebook page, or on our YouTube channel at Daily Divine Direction. And we want you to stay connected with us, and we want you to encourage everyone to stay connected with us through our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, where you can reach us at WKAPfaith.com. At WKAPfaith.com, we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your parents suddenly decided to get a divorce. You said you never saw any signs that either were unhappy, and neither of your parents have started dating again, and consequently you're afraid that they are going to end up alone. So, listen. First, let me say this to you. You know, divorce does happen. We hope that when we marry, it will last a lifetime. That's not always the case, because we don't always choose the person that God has chosen for us. We select someone for whatever reasons we find appealing to us, or we select them because we think that they'll make a good mate. But at the end of the day, it's not who God has chosen for us. Okay. Now, having said that, Just because you've never seen any signs that they were unhappy does not mean that they were happy. Doesn't mean they weren't unhappy. It just means you didn't see it. You didn't see the signs. It's not your job to see it. You're an adult now, but it's not your job to see. Your parents were married for a very long time. Unfortunately, that has come to an end. Is it possible that they could reunite based on whatever their reasons were for dividing and going their separate ways? It is possible. It may not be probable, but it is possible. But in the end, what you have to know is that they're not going to be alone because they have you and your siblings. So you said in your communication also that your siblings don't seem to be as concerned about it as you are. Truth of the matter is that your siblings are really focusing on their own lives. They trust your parents to know that your parents are capable of making their own decisions and living life their own way. You have to do the same thing. You have to trust that your parents are capable of making competent decisions. Now, does it mean that it was the perfect decision? Does it even mean that it was the right decision? Not necessarily, but that's for them to figure out and for them to find out. So you're gonna have to let them live their lives. Don't interfere, but spend as much time with them as you possibly can. And as long as they have you and your siblings, they're not gonna end up alone. They have children. They have you and your siblings. So one of the things that we all have to understand is that just because parents go their separate ways doesn't mean that your parents don't love you. It just means that they're not in love with one another. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be there for you. You know, you have to remember, you're an adult and you have your own life to live, but you have to remember, they're still your parents. They're still going to be there if you need them. They're going to be there to support you emotionally. They're going to be there to support you if you just need them, because they're your parents. They may not be husband and wife any longer, but they're still your parents. And so you have to allow them to focus on their own lives. You say they're not dating. Neither one of them are dating right now. You know, we get to a certain point in life and dating is not important to us because we're not interested in living in that environment again. And particularly when you've been married a long time, the last thing you want to have to do is try to basically train someone else. I'll just use that term. Because at the end of the day, your parents now are trying to navigate, first of all, being unmarried again. They're trying to navigate the emotions of, I no longer have my spouse. You know, married people tend to live longer. I was having that conversation yesterday. You tend to live longer because you have one another to keep on point with certain things that are going to allow you to be better. So that's one aspect that your parents now have to adjust to. They have to adjust to the fact that, look, the Bible says two is better than one. Because when one falters, he has the other one to prop him up. So they have to navigate being by themselves again and navigating all of the things that they didn't have to do when they were married. You got to give them time to adjust to all of that. Then, your thought process is, well, if they start dating someone else, then, that will allow them, your first thought was that will allow them to have a companion and allow them to reestablish their lives in a way that, the things they didn't have to take care of before, they won't have to take care of again. But that may not be the case if they start dating someone else. And then there's the underlying current of you being concerned that your parents aren't, if they start dating again, that they're going to have less time for you. That's not the case. They're always going to have time for you. But you're more concerned, you say, about them being alone. I get it. It is understandable because you've only seen them as a unit. It's understandable for you to want them to have a unit again. But just like they're navigating all of the circumstances of being unmarried again, you're navigating the emotions of your parents no longer being a unit. And that's troubling for you for a few reasons. So you have to realize that they have to live their lives. You have to live your life. And don't confuse the two. Their divorce has nothing to do with your adult life. Their divorce means that they have to now reestablish what they desire their lives to look like. And that's a process for everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean that life is destroyed. It just means that life has been disrupted. And now they've got to reestablish what that's going to look like moving forward. What is it going to look like if they are single for the rest of their lives? Because, you don't really necessarily want to do that all over again at a later age in life. Now, there are exceptions to every rule, but it's not the rule. Most people don't want to do that again once they get to a certain point in life. As far as, trying to start dating again. But there are exceptions. People they've got something called silver singles now. That's people who are older, who are more mature in age, but they want to start dating again. But that's the exception to the rule. That's not the rule. Most people, as we get older, we get settled in our ways, and we're not really trying to disrupt what we're doing in our day-to-day lives. That's just reality. Let your parents give them time to figure out what's next for them. And in the interim, you just continue to live your adult life and spend as much time with your parents as you possibly can. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. And this segment of the broadcast is brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. So if you're in the market for a new automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com. You will have the opportunity to virtually build out the type of Porsche you desire to own. And if you are in our area, you can go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Didio, who is the general manager of Porsche Delaware. He will make certain that someone assists you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own. And if you currently own one and you're in our area and you're just in need of service, go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Adams, service manager, PorscheDelaware.com. He will make certain that someone schedules an appointment for you. They will pick up your vehicle at your home or office and leave you with a loaner car and return your vehicle to you when service has been completed at PorscheDelaware.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers, but before I do that, I want to remind everyone, Sunday is coming fast. You want to make sure that you have enough hydration for the Super Bowl Sunday. Go to FijiWater.com, place an order for 1 case of Fiji water, and you will receive a second case for 50% off using the using the code GameDay at FijiWater.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you do not get to see your children or your grandchildren as often as you would like to see them. They always have excuses for why they do not come to visit. However, you are not in great health and you really want to see them. Okay, so listen. The first thing you need to do is focus on getting your health in order so that you can then go and visit them more frequently. If they're not coming to visit you on a regular basis or on the basis that you would like them to do, then you need to focus on getting your health in order. We're going to help you do that. And we're going to help you do that by tuning in this Thursday. Normally on the first Thursday of every month, we have with us Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. However, scheduling permitted. So she wasn't able to be with us due to scheduling changes this first Thursday. So she will actually be with us right here in Zoom in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, this Thursday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Becca the Dietitian will be with us in Zoom. Now, having said that, you've got to focus on doing some things that are going to enhance your health and wellness so that you can then go and spend as much time with your children and your grandchildren as you physically can. You say you're not in great health now. Okay, you have some health issues, but that's not going to stop you from being able to go and visit your children and your grandchildren. You just got to get your health in order. You've got to get your health under control. You've got to get your health to a place where you feel comfortable traveling to see them. It's not that they're that far away. And that's the one thing that I say often. If your children or grandchildren are not far away, then whenever they give you the opportunity, you want to go and visit them. Because as much as we all would like, particularly those of us who are baby boomers, as much as we would like our children to take the time out to come and visit us, they're not going to do that. They have their own lives and they're all living their own lives. They're not going to spend as much time with us as we would like them to spend. That doesn't mean that they won't ever see you. It's just we want to see them regularly. We want to look in their eyes. We want to know that they're well. We want to know that everything's all right. And we want to see them maximize the fullness of God in all of their lives. Okay. Having said all of that, if you can get your health in order, you'll then feel more comfortable going to visit them. So first things first. First thing first is to focus on getting your health in order. How do you do that? First thing you've got to do is go and see your family practitioner. That's the first thing you've got to do. And then once you've seen your primary care physician, then if you need a specialist, they will recommend you to a specialist. Okay. And then you have to start focusing on all of the things you need to do to get your health in order. Now, let me say this. For all of us, there is something we can do to enhance our health. There's something we can do to improve ourselves physically, get our health in order. Sometimes for some of us, it is watching weight gain. That's a real simple one, but it's real complex. And the reason is because we like certain things, we develop a taste for certain things, we develop certain habits, and we live by those. They may not be conducive for great health, so we have to work on that. Eating right, more fruits and vegetables. We've got to get enough sleep. I'm always encouraging everyone to try and get at least 8 hours of sleep a night. Now, I don't always get 8 hours of sleep, but I certainly, God knows I try. I didn't last night, but God knows I tried. And the days that I get 8 hours of sleep, I always feel better. I feel the more sleep I can get, the better I feel. Now that we all have responsibilities, so we're not going to be able to just shut down and sleep all the time, nor would you want to. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come upon you like an armed man. So that's scripture. We've got to do our part. You got to try and get more rest. You got to try to eat healthier. You got to drink plenty of water. You got to do the necessary things to make certain that you're trying to get your health in order so that you then can go and visit your children and your grandchildren. The good news is they'll welcome you coming. They're not going to slow down their lives, but you can go spend a couple of days with them and they'll be perfectly fine with that. Because it's not that they don't want to see you, it's just they're not going to take time out to see you. They're not going to take time out of their schedules to spend time with you just because you want them to. They're not. So you've got to take the time and go and spend time with them. Whenever you can. Pick up the phone, shoot them a text, call them, tell them, I'd like to come and visit you for the weekend. And go and visit. But first things first, you got to get your health in order so that you feel good and you feel well enough to go and visit with them. And then you want to feel good while you're there. You want to feel good about being able to do things with them. I had to reflect as I was pulling this communication. My wife and I went to visit our son and our daughter-in-law and our grandson. And we didn't spend a long period of time. We just went to see them, and from time to time we'll go and visit them and take them out to dinner, and then we'll return home. Sometimes we'll go and spend a couple of days. But the reality is, you want to be able to feel good. Now, I'm the protector, so my grandson, I always say to my son and my daughter-in-law, our grandson's not going to get injured on our watch. That's just the bottom line, because I'm the protector. My wife is always going to be on, my grandson's on 100, she's going to be on 100. My grandson's on 1,000, she's going to be on 1,000. And what I mean by that is she's got a lot of energy, so she's very active with him. He loves it, whether it's hide and seek or whether it's just him riding his scooter and her walking at a fast pace behind him. But it's just being able to spend time. So you just have to get your health in order so that you can do that. It's not that your children don't want to spend time with you. It's just they're not going to take the time out of their busy lives or busy schedules to do that. So we got to know that. And then we can make certain that we really have a great quality of life. Spending time with family is always a good time when you have a great quality of life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York where they have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're in New York, stop in at the retail stores. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. Both stores, both companies will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your daughter cannot keep a man. So I'm gonna have to address this step by step. You said you were ready for her to get married. However, she doesn't want to get married or have children. The question you have to ask yourself is, what did she learn from you? You're not married. You have one child. One. And she's heard you talk about the responsibility of being unmarried and having a child. She's heard you talk about the experience of being a single parent. So all of the things you shared with her have really painted the picture for her life. Now, she's got to make a decision how long she wants to stare at that painting. But you got to ask yourself first, what did she learn from you? So you might have to change up your language. You know, you might have to change up from telling her about the hardships of being a single parent. You know it was hard. There's a hardship, but you don't want to continuing to focus on how difficult that was, because if you do, she's going to be single for a very long time and no children. You have to realize that the more positive information you can give her about the joys of having children, the more positive information you can give her, the more it's going to shape her perspective. You say she can't hold on to a man. Well, truth be told, she's been dating the wrong man. And until she starts dating the right man, she's going to be single and unmarried. The reason she can't keep a man is because she keeps looking at men through the eyes of her mother. You think that men basically are no good. That's what you've told her. So consequently, she thinks men are no good. She doesn't look past let me rephrase that. She looks past the possibilities and doesn't look past the flaws. We are all flawed individuals. Every man, woman, and child above the age of accountability. We are all flawed. We all have flaws. But we can't focus on the flaws. We have to focus on the refinement. What effort are people making to become better? So you have to encourage her to look at men that way instead of looking at them the way you've always looked at them. She has to look at men not as flawed individuals, but as men with possibilities. Because we all have flaws. You know, there is not one of us who does not have a flaw. All of us do. But that's man, woman, and child above the age of accountability. So I'm going to encourage you to do this. Start having some different conversations with your daughter about the men she chooses to date. Start having some different conversations with her about what marriage can look like. How, if you had it all to do over again, you would love to have been married. Start talking to her about the positive aspects of having children. Going through life, nurturing another person, another human being, and preparing them to live in society and improve our society. If you do that, her perception over time will change, and it will give her an opportunity to make some new decisions for her life. Because right now she's only basing her perspective and her decision on what you've taught her to date. And that is, it's not necessary to be married, and that is how difficult it is to raise one child. If she has two, she might as well have 10. You told her how difficult it is to raise one. Tell her the benefits of what it means to raise a child. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. Remember, if you order from FijiWater.com today, you will receive one case at 50% off. Order one, get one for 50% off using the code GAMEDAY. Prepare for the Super Bowl, which is coming fast. Have a great day today. May God bless you. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding.